We want to begin a series on what is the gospel for our next few sessions, and I'm focusing on Romans chapter 3. Paul, as a lawyer, is presenting the divine case against the human race, what God finds us guilty of, and why the human race has a problem. Listen to what he says, 14 charges against the entire human race, every one of us. He says, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, that is, God. There is no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Their throats are open graves. Their tongues practice deceit. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Have the sinner just open his mouth, and God says it proves he's got the disease. He's got a mouth that's corrupt and as stenchy as a grave full of corpses. He goes on, their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery mark their ways, and the way of peace they do not know. There's no fear of God before their eyes. And he goes on, and he finally says, therefore no one will be declared righteous in God's sight by works of the law, moralism, obedience, keeping rules. Rather, through the law, we become conscious of our sin. But apart from the law, the righteousness of God has been made known, to which the law and the prophets testify. The righteousness is given through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. There's no difference between Jew and Gentile, for all have sinned and are presently falling short of the glory of God. Sometimes we say to people, you need to go to the doctor. And they could say to you, well, I'm not sick. You need a lawyer. I'm not guilty. I've not been charged. Well, Romans 3 is God's charge, and he says, you need a lawyer. You need a physician. You need someone to get you out of the court of divine justice because you're guilty. 14 charges alone God has against every man, woman, boy, and girl. In essence, God could burn up the world 1,000 times over just on the charges against us of Romans 3. You don't love me, you don't seek me, you don't want me, you don't know me, you don't understand me, you deny me. Why shouldn't I just incinerate the place and wash my hands of the human race? And in the midst of this indictment, he's going to offer us the best news ever given. It's called the gospel. Gospel is a little word, euangelon. You is the part that's good. Angelon is message, a messenger that brings good news. First of all, I ask you, have you ever admitted you're guilty before God apart from Christ? Have you ever admitted you're a sinner? You see, if you're not a sinner, God can't help you. Jesus Christ died to save sinners. If you're perfect in your eyes and you're okay, everything's fine, you never do anything wrong, the gospel, you don't even need it. You don't even hear it because you think you're going to make it to heaven because you do the Sermon on the Mount, let's say, which I don't believe anyone does completely. I want to keep the 10 commandments. No, we've all broken them. The first commandment is to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and body. I don't know that I know anyone that's ever done that perfectly. And so there alone, we fall short, we fall short. You see, the hardest people in the world to reach for Jesus Christ are people who admit no need of him. They see themselves as all right and good. So Paul tells us the need of the gospel is God finds you guilty outside of Christ. Once Louis Chafer said, the hardest people to ever go to heaven are those who feel perfect. The guilty man, the patient who feels they're sick with a terminal disease could go to a doctor. Men are known for not going to the doctor. But enough pain, enough discomfort will make us go to the doctor. And Jesus Christ often lets pain come into your life. What are you going through now? What pain? C.S. Lewis once said, God shouts to a deaf world through pain. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know if you buried someone lately. If you haven't, you will. I don't know if there's sickness, but if you haven't, you will. If you've not had broken relations, you will. It's a part of the human experience. You desperately need someone that can give you good news for desperate situations. And Jesus Christ is that good news. And Paul is going to continue to develop and tell us what that good news it is. And the good news is all wrapped up in Jesus Christ. And we'll pick that up as we further look at Romans 3 and unpackage what is the good news God has to give us sinners.